drag, I
Look
think.
how good my gun is.
Anyway, listen, as you can tell, that's Bernie Kim. That's one of our guys.
Wow.
Okay, all you have to do, check it out, TiVo.com. You can share the pictures and the photos and all the home movies you want. So just send it on its way. Clowns. All right, our next guest deals with the game inside the game. He has helped make offshore gambling a $6 billion a year industry, and now he offers a glimpse of that world in his new book, Bets, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. Steve Budin, how are you, man?
Good to see you. Glad to be here.
I like the cover of the book, too.
Thank you very much.
That's very nice.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Hi, SB. Now listen, I read in your book also that you started as a bookie in high school.
That's correct.
And you would even take bets from your teachers.
That's correct.
Now, so if the teachers couldn't pay up, did you get an A or you were an A student?
Well, the good thing about it, I used to deal parlay cards in high school. My father taught me about that. He was a legendary bookmaker from New York. And with the parlay cards at $20 a pop, we take that money in advance. And that was like the theory we brought offshore. You know, when we changed it from street bookmaking to actual corporate offshore, is making the people put their money up. That took care of problem number one and made it smooth sailing from that day on.
Now, that's the key, is it really has changed the industry in the last 2 decades or so. I mean, back in the old days, you have to call up your guy and you say, hey, Curly, I'd like them.
Yeah, how you know that, Chris?
Just,
Give me
I saw it in the movies. I saw it in the movies, right?
Okay.
But now it's offshore gambling. It's all okay. It's kosher. How much of this is responsible because of you changing it?
Well, if you're asking me, I'm going to say all of it. But the truth is the big change in gambling is that back in the day when we started on the street and people were betting over the phone, like you said, they had to bet $100 or more. So we're talking about the elite of society, people that could afford to lose $1,000 or so in a week. With the internet now, man, we opened the game to everybody. The $5 bettor came on board. Everybody's betting now. And because of that, the demand is so great, man, there's no way to go with this thing but legality.
Wow. Legality, I like that. Now, you mentioned in your book that you have like athletes like Jaromir Jagr who bet with your company.
That's right.
Are there any athletes that bet with their own team?
Well, no, that's something that we never allowed, even betting on their own sport. And there were a lot of athletes that bet with me. And Jaromir, you know, a lot of people, you know, gave me a lot of slack for breaking that story. But the truth is I didn't break that story. You know, that story was out, you know, a good 3 or 4 months, you know, before I even wrote the book. I mean, there was talk about him losing $500,000 to this place, $500,000 to that place. So what I really did was I wanted to let people know that if you have an athlete like Jaromir Jagr, and here's a guy with every connection, knows everybody in sports, man, the guy never cashed a ticket with me. After a year and a half, he never won for 1 week. He did nothing but send me money. And if he can't win, you know, what kind of chance do you have as a gambler of winning without the help of professionals like me?
Would he call you right before that? What would happen?
Well, I mean, Jaromir would have a phone account, and he would call us sometimes from the locker room. Right from the locker room, yeah, absolutely. And we would watch the games on the TV, and we would see everybody skate out on the ice, but not Jaromir. He was on the phone, Giants and over, Giants and over, Giants and over. The guy never met a favorite he didn't love.
Baseball, but not hockey or anything.
Never
like
hockey.
Never
And these guys asked to bet hockey all the time, but we never let them. Not Jaromir.
But no one watches hockey, so you don't bet.
I mean, hockey was on strike, no one even knew it.
You're still taking the bets.
All right, now, were you surprised to hear that an NBA ref was in the game fixing?
You know, it's a good question, and I wasn't. It's been the dirty little secret in the gambling industry. You know, when you have a ref, I mean, when was the last time in baseball you saw a referee call back a home run for an offensive foul? Never. In basketball, you know, the game is on the line with these guys, and the bottom line is they're not getting paid nearly as much as they should. If I had a player that could change the game in the last 3 minutes consistently every night out, what do you pay that player? $10 million, $20 million? Not the $250,000 you're paying the referees, and then asking them to go to Atlanta when Atlanta's playing Boston and half the stadium's filled and nobody's watching, and they're not going to do a little hocus pocus? Come on, too easy.
But they don't affect game outcomes, right?
Yes, they do.
They certainly do.
No, what I'm saying is they might change lines, okay? But do they change who wins and loses?
If I'm a referee and I want a game to go over the total, I know how to get the teams in the penalty nice and early, keep those foul shots coming, keep the clock nice and stopped. Come on, it's
Can you
easy.
explain to this fan that
that's
this
fine.
is real life?
Oh,
that it's
absolutely.
about gambling and money and professional
I hear you. I know it's a big
sports?
industry.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So how prevalent is game fixing in sports?
I think the new game fixing doesn't come from, obviously the players are getting paid too much, they're untouchable. The referees now, look, that investigation was going on 18 months in the NBA. And the genius of David Stern, the pure genius of David Stern was breaking that story in the middle of the summer, when it had no effect whatsoever on the NBA. He knew by the time October came around, it's water under the bridge. No one even's worried about it. Gamblers are worried about today. They're not thinking about yesterday. Give me a game to play and show me where it is. I'm not going to worry about what happened, 2 months ago. Well, and that was very smart. The only thing I didn't like about David Stern
is he got rid of him.
That's nice. Hey, listen, you can read much more about it. The book is called Bets, Drugs, and Rock and Roll.
I love it.
Steve
You cool
Budin,
as they come, but you sweating.
Exactly. It's like they're chasing him today. They're chasing him. Good job.
Keep it between two black guys.
I'm fine.
Hey, listen, it has also been quite a year for the NFL referees as well, at least on the field. Some